There's a power in silence that most people don't understand. See, when someone disrespects you, they're looking for a reaction. They're fishing for your anger, your frustration, your hurt. But when you stay quiet, you don't give them the satisfaction. You hold on to something much more valuable, your power. Because when you don't respond, you are sending a clear message you are in control, not them. You see, silence isn't about letting things slide or pretending they don't affect you. It's about making a choice. A choice that says, I am not defined by your words. It's easy to lash out, to fire back with words that cut just as deep. But when you stay quiet, you rise above. It's a statement, a declaration that you don't need to validate yourself to anyone. That kind of restraint, that kind of self-discipline, that's real strength. Because it takes more to bite your tongue than to lash out. It takes more to walk away than to stay and fight a battle that won't make you any better. And let's be real, there will always be people who disrespect you. People who don't see your value, who can't appreciate the light you bring. But their blindness is not your burden to carry. Your dignity is not up for negotiation, and you don't have to bring yourself down to their level to prove it. Silence is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of maturity. It's saying, I have nothing to prove to you. It's okay to let your silence speak for you. Let your success speak for you. Let your actions and your achievements do the talking. Because the truth is, nothing shuts down disrespect faster than growth and greatness. When they see you thriving despite their negativity, they'll realize that their words held no weight. That's the beauty of staying quiet. You don't just silence them, you inspire others to do the same. You show them that there's a different way to handle adversity, a way that doesn't involve losing your cool or compromising your character. So the next time you face disrespect, remember you don't owe anyone a response. You don't owe them your energy. Walk away with your head held high, not because you're avoiding the fight, but because you've already won it. The victory was in the choice you made to stay above it all. That's the kind of power silence holds. That's the kind of power you hold. When you're selective about the battles you fight, you're doing more than just keeping your peace, you're protecting your purpose. You've got goals, dreams, and a path to walk. Every time you engage in an argument that doesn't move you forward, you're taking a step off your own path. Life will always have its share of challenges, so you have to be strategic about where you place your effort. You have to ask yourself, is this situation deserving of my focus? Will this response make me stronger or wiser? Or will it just drain my energy? Choosing wisely means understanding that not every confrontation is a reflection of your worth. People's words, their actions, their disrespect often have more to do with them than with you. Their insecurities, their pain, their own battles they're fighting, those are the forces behind their disrespect. So when you choose to stay quiet, when you choose to walk away, you're showing that you understand this. You're showing that you are in control of yourself and your reactions. You're choosing to prioritize your own peace over someone else's chaos. There's power in restraint. When you pick and choose your battles, you're conserving your strength for the moments that actually matter. It's about focusing your energy where it can make a difference. If you fight every battle, you'll be exhausted long before you reach your goals. You'll be so busy reacting to every little thing that you'll miss the bigger picture. That's not how you win in life. You win by staying focused on what really matters, by fighting the battles that are worth your sweat and tears, and letting the rest fade into the background. Knowing which battles to fight doesn't mean you're afraid of conflict. It means you're wise enough to know that not every conflict is your fight. It means recognizing that some situations are beneath you, that some people aren't ready to hear what you have to say, or simply aren't worth your time. It's about knowing that your value isn't defined by whether or not you respond to every provocation. Your strength lies in your ability to discern which moments require your voice and which moments are better met with silence. The real victory comes when you learn to walk away from the noise, from the petty disputes that don't elevate you or contribute to your growth. It takes courage to step back and let the small stuff go, to resist the urge to defend yourself against every attack. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because every time you do, you keep your peace, your focus, and your power. You walk away with your dignity intact and your mind clear, ready to tackle the battles that truly matter, the ones that will shape your future. When you choose your battles wisely, you're not just avoiding unnecessary conflict, you're setting the terms for how you live your life. You're choosing to live with intention, to stay true to your values, and to prioritize your long-term growth over short-term satisfaction. It's about rising above the noise and keeping your eyes on the prize no matter what comes your way. It's about deciding that your energy is too precious to waste on things that won't help you become the person you're meant to be. That's how you win, by fighting the right battles and leaving the rest behind. Your worth isn't determined by what someone else says about you or how they treat you. It isn't something that can be given or taken away by anyone other than yourself. True self-worth comes from within. It's built on knowing who you are and understanding your value, regardless of the opinions, judgments, or disrespect from others. When you know your worth, it doesn't matter what someone else says or does. Their actions can't touch the core of who you are. That's a kind of freedom that can't be bought, only cultivated. We live in a world that's constantly trying to measure us by external standards, titles, possessions, status, appearances. But real confidence isn't about fitting into those boxes. It's about knowing deep down that you don't need any external validation to be valuable. If you let others dictate your worth, you'll be forever chasing approval. You'll find yourself bending and twisting to meet their expectations, always hoping for a nod of acceptance. But if you understand that self-worth is an internal affair, you'll stop letting the opinions of others shape how you see yourself. You'll stand firm, grounded in your own value. Disrespect often comes from people who are dealing with their own issues, projecting their own insecurities onto others. When someone disrespects you, it's a reflection of them, not you. It's their baggage, their fear, their struggles. And if you let that disrespect shake your sense of self, you're allowing them to transfer their negativity onto you. But when you have a strong foundation of self-worth, you can see their words and actions for what they really are: noise. Background static that doesn't change your true value. Self-worth is about being able to look in the mirror and like who you see. It's about recognizing your strengths, your flaws, your beauty, and your imperfections, and embracing all of it. It's about knowing that you bring something unique to the world, something that no one else can offer. When you're anchored in that truth, the disrespect loses its power over you. It doesn't sting the same way because you know that the source of your value isn't external. It comes from the way you treat yourself, the standards you set for your own life, and the principles you choose to live by. It's easy to let the outside world dictate how you feel about yourself, especially when you're faced with criticism or rejection. But those moments aren't signs that you're unworthy, they're opportunities to reaffirm your worth. To stand up and say to yourself, I am enough. Just as I am, the more you internalize that message, the less the world can sway your opinion of yourself. The less you'll need to prove anything to anyone. You'll carry yourself with a quiet confidence that doesn't need validation because it's rooted in something much deeper than praise or recognition. When you understand that self-worth is an internal thing, you'll start to prioritize yourself in a different way. You'll see that you don't have to settle for less than you deserve just to be accepted. You won't stay in places where you aren't valued or in situations that make you question your own worth. You'll choose relationships, jobs, and opportunities that honor who you are, not because you need them to feel valuable, but because you know you are valuable and deserve to be treated accordingly. There will always be people who don't recognize your worth, who might try to diminish it with their words or actions. But that's okay, because their recognition is not what defines you. You define you. You set the terms for how you feel about yourself, and you decide what you will and won't accept. That's the power of knowing that self-worth is internal. It liberates you from the need to seek approval, and it empowers you to walk your path with your head held high, no matter what anyone else says or does. When you root your sense of worth inside yourself, you create a kind of resilience that can weather any storm. You'll find that no matter what comes your way, no matter how much disrespect or criticism you face, you won't be easily shaken. You'll be able to move through life with a steady assurance, knowing that you are enough just as you are. Because your worth isn't something that changes with the wind, It's solid, it's real, and most importantly, it's yours. Adversity has a way of introducing you to yourself. When life knocks you down, when people doubt you, when you face disrespect or rejection, that's when you find out what you're really made of. Those moments of struggle aren't meant to break you, they're meant to build you. Because growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you're tested, when you're pushed outside your comfort zone, when the world doesn't go according to plan. It's in those times of difficulty that you have the opportunity to grow stronger, to develop resilience, and to rise above your circumstances. Adversity is a teacher, and the lessons it brings are some of the most valuable you'll ever learn. It teaches you patience when things aren't going your way. It teaches you humility when you realize that you don't have all the answers. It teaches you perseverance when the road is rough and the finish line is nowhere in sight. But most importantly, adversity teaches you that you're capable of more than you thought. It forces you to dig deep to find a strength you didn't know you had. And every time you rise after a fall, you're not the same person you were before, you're better. When you face adversity, you have a choice. You can let it defeat you, or you can let it refine you. It's easy to give up, to blame the world, to feel sorry for yourself. But growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from challenge. You have to be willing to embrace the struggle, to see it as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. Because every setback, every failure, every moment of disrespect or doubt is a stepping stone on the path to becoming who you're meant to be. The growth happens when you learn to turn those setbacks into comebacks, when you turn the pain into purpose. Adversity doesn't just shape your character, it reveals it. When things go wrong, when nothing seems to be working, that's when your true self shows up. It's easy to be positive when everything is going right, but the real test of character is how you respond when it's not. Do you give up? Do you lash out? Or do you dig in and find a way to keep moving forward? The people who grow the most are the ones who choose to face their challenges head on, who understand that every struggle is an opportunity to become better, stronger, and wiser. It's not about pretending that adversity doesn't hurt or that it's easy to deal with. It's not. The struggle is real and it's hard, but it's through the struggle that you find the kind of growth that lasts. You find out that you can handle more than you thought, that your limits are not as fixed as you once believed. You discover new strengths and capabilities that were dormant, waiting for the right moment to emerge. And with every obstacle you overcome, you're not just moving closer to your goals, you're becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever life throws your way. There's a saying that pressure makes diamonds, and that's exactly what adversity does. It puts you under pressure, tests your limits, and pushes you to transform. It forces you to adapt, to find new ways of thinking, new strategies for success. It's not the easy path that leads to greatness, it's the path that's filled with twists, turns, and challenges. The people who truly grow are the ones who are willing to walk that path, who understand that the struggle is part of the process. They don't avoid the tough times, they embrace them as opportunities for growth. When you learn to see adversity as a tool for growth, it changes your whole perspective. You stop being afraid of failure because you understand that failure is not the end, it's a stepping stone. You stop feeling threatened by challenges because you see them as opportunities to level up. And you stop letting other people's negativity hold you back because you know that even disrespect and doubt can fuel your growth if you let them. You use everything, the good and the bad, to push yourself forward, to stretch beyond what you thought was possible. It's the times when you've been knocked down, the moments when you thought you couldn't go on, that shape you the most. Those are the experiences that add depth to your character, that teach you empathy, that give you the kind of wisdom you can't find in a book. So don't shy away from adversity, don't resent it, embrace it for what it is, a chance to grow, a chance to learn something about yourself, a chance to become the person you've always had the potential to be. Every time you come out the other side of a struggle, you've evolved, you've learned to adapt, you've grown more resilient, and you've gained a little more faith in yourself. Because you know now that you can get back up no matter how hard the fall. And that kind of growth, that kind of strength, that's something no one can take away from you. It's earned through adversity, and it stays with you for life. When you maintain your dignity, you're showing that your self-respect is non-negotiable. You're communicating that you will not allow someone else's negativity to dictate your behavior. It's not about turning the other cheek because you're afraid or because you can't respond. It's about choosing not to compromise who you are just because someone else decided to act small. It's about understanding that some battles aren't worth fighting, especially when the only victory would be proving you can outdo someone's pettiness. True strength is keeping your cool when everything around you is trying to pull you down. Dignity isn't about staying silent out of weakness, it's about choosing silence out of strength. It's about knowing that not every situation deserves your reaction, not every insult deserves your response. It's understanding that your worth is already established regardless of what someone else says or does. Your dignity is tied to how you carry yourself, how you respond to the world, and how you treat others, even when they don't deserve your kindness. When you uphold that dignity, you create a boundary that protects your peace. It's a shield that says, I will not let your actions define who I am. When you maintain your dignity, you're setting a standard for how you will be treated. You're showing others what kind of behavior you will and won't tolerate, not by shouting it out, but by embodying it in your actions. You teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. If you always defend your dignity, if you always stand by your principles, even when it's difficult, people will come to respect that about you, even if they don't always show it. They will see that you aren't easily shaken, that you can't be dragged into every fight or provoked by every word. Dignity is about more than just protecting your pride. It's about preserving your inner peace. It's about refusing to allow someone else's chaos to disrupt your balance. In a world that can be unpredictable, filled with situations that challenge your patience and test your strength, your dignity becomes your anchor. It's what keeps you grounded when the world tries to throw you off course. It's the steady hand that guides you through moments of conflict and confusion, reminding you that you don't have to sacrifice your integrity to prove a point. Maintaining your dignity isn't always easy. There will be moments when it feels like giving someone a piece of your mind is exactly what they deserve. But the question you have to ask yourself is, what do you deserve? Do you deserve to be pulled into an argument that drains your energy? Do you deserve to feel rattled or frustrated just because someone else acted out of line? When you choose to maintain your dignity, you're choosing to protect your peace, to prioritize your own well-being, and to honor the person you strive to be. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. Your dignity doesn't require validation from others. It's an internal standard that you set for yourself. It's knowing that you can walk away from a situation without feeling diminished. It's about trusting that, in the end, your consistent display of respect, grace, and self-control will speak louder than any words you could have said in the heat of the moment. The way you carry yourself when faced with disrespect will leave a lasting impression, not just on those who see you, but on you as well, because when you maintain your dignity, you're reminding yourself that no matter what happens, your self-worth remains intact. Actions have a language of their own, a language that speaks louder and clearer than any words ever could. When it comes to showing who you truly are, words can only go so far. It's your actions that will ultimately define you. You can say you're determined, you can promise you'll do better, you can talk about your dreams and aspirations, but none of it really means anything unless your actions align with those words. What you do, the choices you make every day, that's what reveals your character and your intentions. Actions don't lie. They're a reflection of your priorities, your integrity, and your commitment. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of saying the right thing, of crafting the perfect message, or of making grand promises. But words are just that, words. They're fleeting, easily forgotten, easily dismissed. On the other hand, actions leave a lasting impact. They create experiences, they influence others, and they change circumstances. When you act, you create a reality that people can see, feel, and respond to. It's your actions that build trust, earn respect, and create change. Words can inspire, but actions make things happen. Actions are powerful because they transcend talk, they're proof of your commitment. When you face adversity, it's not the promises you made that will carry you through, it's the decisions you make in the face of difficulty. It's how you handle challenges, how you treat others when things don't go your way, and how you stay true to your principles when no one is watching. Those are the actions that speak volumes about who you are. Those are the moments when your character is revealed, not by what you say, but by what you do. People will judge you based on your actions, not your intentions. You may have the best intentions in the world, but if they don't translate into action, they're just empty thoughts. It's your actions that demonstrate whether or not you truly care, whether or not you're truly committed. If you say you want to change, then your actions should reflect that desire. If you say you're dedicated to a cause, then your actions should show that dedication. It's through your actions that you show your true priorities. It's not about talking about the kind of person you want to be. It's about showing up every day and being that person. When you lead by example, your actions have the power to inspire others. Words can motivate, but actions provide the blueprint for what it looks like to put that motivation into practice. When people see you acting with integrity, when they see you working hard, even when no one's looking, when they see you treating others with respect and kindness regardless of the situation, it sets a standard. It shows them what's possible. It gives them something to aspire to. That's the impact of actions. They don't just speak louder than words, they resonate longer. Actions carry weight because they're tangible. They create real, visible outcomes. If you want to be remembered, it's not the things you said that people will recall, it's the things you did. It's the way you made them feel, the way you showed up when it mattered, and the difference you made through your efforts. Actions have a way of leaving a mark, a lasting impression that words can't match. They build legacies, they create stories worth telling, and they shape the world around you. In the end, it's not about how well you can articulate your ideas or how passionately you can express your dreams. It's about how willing you are to put in the work to make them a reality. It's about showing that your values aren't just things you talk about, but principles you live by. It's about understanding that while words can start a fire, actions keep it burning. What you choose to do, every decision, every step, every effort, those are the things that define your life. If you want to be taken seriously, if you want your voice to be heard, then you have to let your actions do the talking. Let your life be a reflection of your values, your beliefs, and your goals. Because when all is said and done, it won't be the speeches you gave or the promises you made that people remember. It'll be the actions you took, the consistency you showed, and the legacy you left through the choices you made every single day. Silence is often misunderstood. People tend to equate it with weakness, passivity, or lack of courage, but in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful forms of wisdom. It's a choice, a deliberate decision to hold back words, not out of fear or insecurity, but out of understanding. Silence allows space for thought and reflection, giving time to consider the true weight of a situation before reacting. When you choose silence over a rushed response, you show that you're not easily provoked or swayed by emotion. It's a sign of inner strength, an indication that you don't need to react to every situation or answer every word thrown your way. There is also a kind of wisdom in recognizing that not every situation requires your input. Sometimes the wisest course of action is to observe, to listen, to gather information before speaking. When you remain silent, you give yourself the opportunity to truly understand the dynamics at play, to see things from a broader perspective. It's easy to speak quickly and say something you might later regret, but silence gives you the chance to weigh your words, to be sure that what you say is meaningful and constructive. It is a choice to let your words carry weight, to ensure that when you do speak, people listen because they know your words are not spoken lightly. Silence can also be a powerful way to demonstrate self-confidence. When you don't feel the need to fill every moment with words, when you don't feel pressured to respond to every remark or challenge, you show that you are secure in yourself. You are not driven by the need to prove anything to anyone, and that in itself is a sign of wisdom. Confidence doesn't always roar sometimes. It is the quiet assurance that you know who you are, that you are comfortable in your own skin, and that you don't need to explain yourself to everyone. It's the calm that comes from knowing that your worth isn't determined by how loudly or frequently you speak. In moments of silence, there is space for clarity. In a world full of noise, where everyone seems to be shouting to be heard, silence stands out. It creates an opportunity for others to reflect, to consider their own words and actions. It gives room for growth and understanding. By choosing silence, you often encourage others to slow down, to think before they speak, to listen instead of simply waiting for their turn to talk. It shifts the focus away from winning an argument to finding a resolution, from being heard to understanding. Silence is also a way of protecting your energy. Not every situation deserves your response. Not every person who tries to provoke you deserves your time and attention. By choosing silence, you decide where to invest your energy and where to withdraw it. It's about recognizing that some battles aren't worth fighting and some conversations don't lead to growth or resolution. Silence is the boundary that says, I will not be pulled into this. It's an act of self-preservation, a way of maintaining your peace and refusing to be drawn into negativity. Wisdom lies in knowing when silence is more powerful than words. There are times when speaking up is necessary and times when remaining quiet is the better choice. Understanding the difference requires discernment and maturity. It means recognizing that sometimes silence speaks louder than any words could. It's not about avoiding conflict or backing down from challenges. It's about knowing that your response or lack thereof is a choice that reflects your values. When you can choose silence, you demonstrate that you are not a slave to your emotions or to the need for immediate gratification. Silence can also be a form of respect, a way of showing that you are listening deeply. When someone shares their thoughts or emotions with you, staying quiet allows you to truly hear them, to give their words the attention they deserve. It's a way of saying, I am here, I am present, and I am taking in what you're saying. It shows that you value their perspective enough to take a moment and consider it fully before responding. Silence creates space for empathy, for understanding another person's experience, and for responding in a way that is thoughtful rather than reactionary. In a culture that often values quick responses and constant communication, the ability to embrace silence can be a rare and valuable skill. It is a sign that you are comfortable with stillness, that you do not need to fill every gap with noise. It shows a level of self-mastery that comes from knowing that sometimes the most meaningful communication happens without words. Silence allows for contemplation, for letting thoughts settle, and for finding the deeper meaning in what is left unsaid. It can be the pause that brings perspective, the quiet that fosters insight. There is wisdom in using silence strategically, in recognizing when it can speak on your behalf, when it can serve as a tool for growth, and when it can be a form of resistance. It's the ability to say without uttering a single word that you will not be moved, that you stand firm in your beliefs, and that your peace is something sacred. Silence is not the absence of response, it's a deliberate, powerful choice. It is the wisdom of understanding that sometimes the most profound statements are made in the quiet moments, in the pauses between words, in the calmness that says more than speech ever could. Letting go of the need for validation is about freeing yourself from the burden of other people's approval. It's about recognizing that your worth is not defined by how others see you or by whether they praise you for your achievements. When you stop seeking validation, you stop living your life according to other people's expectations and you start living it on your own terms. This shift in mindset allows you to find fulfillment in the process of growth, rather than constantly looking outside yourself for signs that you're good enough. It's a powerful act of self-liberation, one that empowers you to own your journey and embrace who you are without needing anyone else's permission. Validation can be addictive. It feels good to be recognized, to hear that you're doing well or that others approve of your choices. But when your sense of self-worth is tied to these external affirmations, you give away your power. You become dependent on others for a feeling that should come from within. When you let go of that need, you take back control over your own happiness and confidence. It's not that you won't appreciate a compliment or positive feedback, but you won't be dependent on them to feel complete. You start to find validation from a deeper place, your own sense of purpose, your own recognition of growth, and your own acknowledgement of your efforts. Letting go of validation doesn't mean you stop caring about the opinions of those around you, especially the people you trust and respect. It means you stop needing their approval to feel good about yourself. It means you start listening to your own voice, trusting your own instincts, and making decisions based on what feels right for you rather than what you think will earn you praise. When you stop seeking validation, you become more authentic, more genuine. You're no longer trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You're living as the person you truly are. And that's where real confidence comes from. Letting go of validation doesn't mean you won't value constructive feedback or ignore others' perspectives. It means you won't let that feedback define you. It means taking what's helpful and leaving the rest. You understand that feedback is just information, not a measurement of your self-worth. When you no longer crave validation, you become better at receiving feedback without taking it personally. You can look at it objectively and decide how to use it to grow without feeling crushed by criticism or overly inflated by praise. This mindset allows for continuous growth without being hindered by the fear of judgment. The process of releasing the need for validation can be challenging, especially in a society that often measures success through external markers like likes, awards, and applause. But when you base your sense of self on these things, you set yourself up for an emotional roller coaster. External approval is fleeting, it comes and goes, and if you're always chasing it, you'll find yourself on an endless pursuit, never fully satisfied. When you detach from the need for validation, you find a steadier source of fulfillment, a fulfillment that comes from knowing you're doing your best, following your own path, and growing at your own pace. There's a freedom that comes with not needing to be validated by others. It allows you to take more risks, to step outside your comfort zone, and to pursue your passions without fear of what people will think. When you're no longer motivated by approval, you become more resilient in the face of setbacks. Failure doesn't feel like a judgment on your worth, it's just another step on your journey. You start to see that success isn't defined by how many people recognize your accomplishments, but by how much you're growing, how much you're learning, and how true you're staying to yourself. When you let go of validation, you also let go of the constant comparison to others. You stop measuring your progress against someone else's achievements, and instead you focus on your own growth. You understand that everyone's journey is different, and that's what makes life interesting. You're not here to follow someone else's script, you're here to write your own. Your validation comes from seeing how far you've come, not from whether or not someone else is impressed. This mindset shift brings a sense of peace and contentment because you're no longer seeking approval, you're finding fulfillment in your own progress. Letting go of the need for validation is about trusting yourself. It's about believing that you're enough just as you are without needing someone else to confirm it. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't depend on how many people clap for you, but on how deeply you value and respect yourself. When you reach this point, you'll find a sense of freedom and confidence that can't be shaken by anyone's opinion because you know your worth comes from within. You'll realize that the only validation you need is your own, and that's a powerful place to be.